from negative to stable has resulted in a misinterpretation by this NDC government and President Mahama that Ghana's credit rating has been upgraded. This is in fact not the case. Moody's did not upgrade Ghana. Ghana's rating under Moody's is still B-.
Dr. Bawumia said economic mismanagement and corruption have resulted in Ghana turning to the IMF for a bailout.
Our pensioners are under threat. Currently, the financial viability of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, is in question. The World Bank, in its 2016 report on governance of SNIT, states that, and I quote, "The actuarial valuation shows that the fund becomes cash flow negative in 2019, and all assets will be used up by 2031.
Let's still stay with us a bit, and Bernard also is with Near Africa, a financial and economic analyst. Join me in studio. Good afternoon. Good to have you. Now, listening to Dr. Bawumia and the position of government's interpretation of Moody's ratings over the period, would you say that he was right in saying that government misinterpreted the ratings of Moody's?
First of all, thank you. First of all, we have to understand what the credit ratings mean. For credit rating, it's like what financial institutions call stress analysis. If you're going for a loan, this is what they do, and they see your vulnerability and see your liquidity level, so that they will advance the loan to you and know that you are in a position to defray the debt that you are contracting. Right. So that is the essence of credit rating. For Moody, what they just did was that if you look at our position, still we are in a vulnerable state. That is the B3 minus. That is what it says. But for the liquidity aspect, if you are B3 with a negative outlook, it means your liquidity level is very low. You wouldn't be able to source money to defray your debt, although you are still in the vulnerable state. But if you have a stable outlook, what it basically means is that, yes, you are in a position to defray some of your debt. And if you look at even the interpretations they did after they gave to this credit rating they did, was that, yes, we are able to defray our debt because we have been able to contract $750 million from the Eurobond. And that $750 million Eurobond money was just going to pay off old loans that we contracted. And now we have a deficit that is decreasing. If you look at 2011 to 2012, on average, we were hitting a double-digit figure when it comes to budget deficit. So if we are reducing it to 5.6 now, it means it gives a positive picture. But really, the stress analysis on Ghana is not enterprising or something promising to be jubilating about.
I see, because you had the government pose it when Moody's put out the ratings that, look, it was B- negative. Now we have B- or B3 with a positive outlook. If the outlook is positive, is this something that we should be celebrating about, or we should still be cautiously optimistic about these ratings?
No, you shouldn't be celebrating about it, because one, you are still at B3, and the interpretation given to B3 is that you are vulnerable and you are low in liquidity. But the stable outlook comes when it comes to defraying your debt. Now we are able to...
So you're in a position to defray your debt?
You are able to defray your debt. And what is the technique or the strategy the government is devising now? We borrow to pay old debt. So if you are having a negative outlook, you can't even go and borrow to defray your old debt. Now you have the opportunity to get new loans to defray old debt contracts. So that gives those people who are in the future going to advance loans to you a positive image of you that, yes, you are in distress, but the situation is not all that bad.
Okay, so there was a talk about reducing taxes for SMEs from 17.5% to 3%. That's a VAT. How feasible will this be, especially knowing that a country runs on taxes, and to the effect that you would want to expand, you know, base of internally generated funds? Government is beginning to look at internal generation of revenue to be able to run its, you know, development agenda.
I think the feasibility of this policy will be contingent on what they first promised. If they are able to improve the database, we will be able to rope a lot of people into the tax net. So it will be like having 100% of one and having, say, 10% of 1,000. Obviously, 10% of 1,000 is greater than 100% of one. I hope you are getting it. So if we are able to expand the database, we will be able to get a lot of people who are hitherto not paying the tax, pay the tax. So even if the rate is low, the volumes will be large.
Thank you, Bernard. Grateful. I'm sure that we will still continue with these analyses of various aspects of the NPP manifesto, which bases on the business of the moment. That's it for business this afternoon.